Functions as first-class citizens. What does that mean? Well, in Python, we can treat functions just like we treat anything else in terms of like integers, floats, strings, objects, that type of thing. So we can treat functions as variables. We can pass a function to another function. We can store a function in a variable. And we can store a function in a data structure, for example. So let me give you an example of what this means. Imagine that we have a function, hello, or say hello rather. What I usually tell you all is write a little bit of code, save it and run it. And in this case, I'm just going to say return hello. Something like that. Now this is not going to do anything because we're not invoking it. If you don't believe me, watch what happens when we run it. Nothing happens. But what we need to do is say hello, parentheses, parentheses, and now we run it. Nothing happens. Why? Well, we need to print whatever the result is from this say hello method. And now we get the hello. So to build this up, that's our main little function that we're going to be using. And what we're going to do is we're going to create another function here, say callback function. Callback function. And here we're going to say callback let's just print something first at the beginning of the function. And then I'm going to say at the end of the function, just so that we could be super clear what's happening. End of the function. And here we're going to say callback. Go ahead and call yourself. So what are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say, hey, callback function, I'm going to pass a function to you. What function is that going to be? Well, I'm going to pass a function to you. It's going to be say hello. But I don't want to invoke it. I just want to tell you what the function is. By the way, if we just print that function, just the name, that's just a reference, right? That's just going to be a reference here. It's not going to be invoking the function. It tells us where that function is. It's a reference in the memory. So, and that's great. That's exactly what we want. We want to be able to say, hey, look, go ahead and I want this in another line. There you go. Go ahead and callback function. Call yourself, but let's invoke you. In other words, and let's pass in the say hello function. And it's not going to do anything. Let's see what happens when we do this. We should see this print statement and that print statement, and we should see something here. But why don't we just comment that out for now, so we can see what's happening. It's going to say at the beginning of the function, at the end of the function. Now let's call the callback. Well, to invoke the callback, remember that's not going to happen with anything. It's just nothing's going to really happen. It's going to return a hello. We should probably store that here, or we can say print whatever you get from this callback. We can do something like that. And here we're going to say the beginning of the function, then it's going to print hello, and then at the end of the function. Now this callback, what is the big deal here? We see this terminology in JavaScript specifically, but it's the same idea here. We're giving a function to a function, and then calling this function within this function, depending on some condition or whatever it is that we want. In this case, we don't have a condition, we're just calling it right after this first print statement, and that's a callback. We don't have to call it a callback. We could have called it, as you could guess, Ferrari or Apple, whatever you wanted, but whatever you call it here, you better call it here as well. And you can see that it's going to work. That's what we talk about, what we mean when we talk about functions as first-class citizens, because we're getting to pass a function to a function, just like we do a regular variable, an integer, a float, a string, or another custom object. This is the interesting piece of functional programming, or part of it anyway, where we can treat functions at ease have this flexibility of assigning a function to a variable, passing a function to a function, and at the same time we can store the function in a data structure. Hope this makes sense.